sorry, it's Tarek with Cyclone FPV. Decided to do a last minute live build here for a customer of mine, and figured I'd kind of go online. We're doing a new thing with the website, obviously, because the website sucks so bad. It's undergone some major changes. And hey, David. Hey, Julio. Hey, guys. Aaron, I see you there too. So what I've decided to do was on the new website that we're doing, you're going to see a bunch of product pages. And one of the things you're going to notice is, I mean, as I finish working on it, is under each product, if I can put a video together and you can watch the video and see how to put the product together or how to attach it or whatever, I'm going to be able to do that for you. So in this case, ironically, I'm actually going to be doing the Crossfire micro receiver on a Lumineer F4 all-in-one board. And so I figured, well, heck, I might as well go ahead and put the video together on it. So that's what you guys are going to be watching today. And I'm going to try to see if I can get this for you. So here's the board right here that I'm going to be working on. This is the Lumineer all-in-one. It's definitely been used. This thing has been flown like a beast. And the guy's a pretty awesome guy, and he flies hard. So I've cleaned up the board as best as I can. And I actually already did this once and then figured, well, I'm going to go ahead and do it again just so that I can get it on video for you guys and y'all can watch how I'm going to do it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take the TBS Micro RX, which is right here, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and put this together on how to connect this. Sorry, let me do a picture-in-picture here, which will probably make it a little bit easier for you guys to see. So let's try that. Let's see how I'm going to do this. We'll try it this way. Let's see if this will work. Okay, so from the top here, you can see this is the Micro RX right here. And yeah, got my beard, right? What's up? And I've already taken off the bottom piece because I need to make this as low profile as possible. I normally would take off the top and solder directly to it, but in this case, I really don't have time, doesn't permit, and it's really not that necessary. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this all connected for you guys so you can see how it's done. And mainly what we're going to look at is this area here. If I can get this board to zoom in a little bit, we are going to be looking at, let me get a pointer here. So we're going to be looking at the following areas. Right here on the all-in-one, we have our S-bus and our 5-volt and our ground, but because this is an F4 board, we can't invert the S-bus signal. We're going to go ahead and actually connect these to the UART. And there is actually a screen that I put together here I want to show you. Let me see if I can get this up. And it's kind of a simple image of the layout of what I'm going to be doing. So let's see if I can get this for you guys. Okay, so if you look at this picture here, and I think this is actually, let me blow it up a little bit. So if you look at this picture here, this is basically what we're working with, right? We're going to look at the following layout of how we're going to connect this. Since we're not going to go through S-bus, we're actually going to connect the ground and the 5-volt where you see the red and the black arrow. And then you've got here your labeled channel 1, which is the transmitting channel on the Crossfire, is going to go into the receiving channel UART 6 on the board, and then channel 2, which is the receiving on the Crossfire, excuse me, is going to go into the UART transmitter of the UART 6 as well of the board. So this is the wiring diagram of what we're looking at, and if I can get this to disappear, I will be able to show you what we're going to do here. Okay, so there we are back with the product that we're working with, and so this is what we're going to be doing. So we're going to actually be tapping in to I use alcohol, actually. I'm sorry, I didn't see the screen there when you asked, Julio. I use alcohol to pretty much clean the board. So I'll heat the board up, right, to where the glue and everything is a little bit loose, and then I'll go ahead and use alcohol and a toothbrush. And I'll soak the board a little bit in the alcohol and put some alcohol over it, and then I'll scrub it with a toothbrush. As a matter of fact, I think I have, actually this is it right here. So it's a little dirty now and the alcohol's kind of dried up, but this is the bin that I use. I know I'm zoomed in there, and this is the brush. See, the brush is dirty after this clean, so then I'll go ahead and clean the brush and get started on the next one. That's how I usually clean a board up. In this case, I'll still pull pieces off, but this board's pretty good already. It's been in the sand and everything, and it's doing pretty good. So I've got a full build to do actually, but for the sake of getting this done, I wanted to put a video together on this part. but the video is actually going to carry longer into a build, so you guys can see what else is going on. So here's what we're going to do. On the receiver itself, you have, and I don't know if the camera's going to pick this up. Let me just try to see if I can zoom in as best as I can. Okay, so we're going to start from the bottom here. So we have ground, and we have 5 volt, and then we have channel 1, channel 2, and channel 3 and channel 4 we're not going to be using here. So I'm actually going to pull the pins out, and that is something that has become somewhat of a habit, is to pull the pins out. So let me get here, and let's see if we can zoom out and give you guys a little bit of an idea of what we're talking about here. All right, so let's scale this down, kind of get it out of the way, I guess, and there. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to pull the pins out first, right? And that's going to be to save up space. So the way this is going to connect, obviously, is going to go in like this, but since we're not going to be using the last 2 channels, we're going to go ahead and pull those from the system altogether. And let me get this, I'm afraid I'm going to have to use this, so this may not help you guys to look. Let's just take the picture-in-picture out, so I can use the magnifier without getting in y'all's way. Okay, so if the plug is going to go in like this, then we know that these 2 are coming out. So it's a pretty simple process, right? To eliminate the wires, just go ahead and prop it up a little bit, and then you should be able to pull the wires out. Let me get a finer point on this. So we're going to pop that up on this wire, and we're going to go ahead and just grab it out. Should come out very easy. There you go. And I would save them, because if you ever want to use it again, as long as you don't crank these little pieces of plastic, these tabs up, you can actually put the wire back in if you ever need it. And this applies to anything. So it's pretty good practice to make yourself a little case or a little Ziploc bag or whatever it is that you want to use, and save these wires. And again, make sure you pull up easy on the tabs. Well, actually on this tab it's going to probably get all cut, but in either case, I try to save as many parts as I can, and I would recommend that you guys start doing the same, perhaps. So give me a second here. There's 1, 2, and because I'm going to hardwire this to the flight controller, I'm going to go ahead and remove the other ones anyway, and I'm just going to basically save the connector in case I ever want to use it again, or the customer ever wants to use it again. So I'm going to prop up the rest of these tabs, and if you do break a tab, no big deal, but if you want to try to reuse this somehow, it's probably good practice to get used to this. So I'm going to go ahead and finish pulling this out real quick. Oops, sorry. See how many we got with that one. So we got, all right, I only got 1 left. Now in this case, because I'm going to be cutting this, it won't matter. I'm going to cut these ends off, but the good news is that you can reuse them, right? So you can always recrimp these if you want and put a piece back on. So that's what you should be left with for the most part. And now what you can see is we have 4 wires, okay? And based on the diagram that I showed you guys earlier, okay, you're going to see here, let me see if I can make this bigger for y'all. There you go. So you're going to see channel 1, which is the purple line there. Okay, so make sure you understand that we're counting, well, here, I need to get back now to show you this. So let's see if I can. Make sure that you remember that we are counting the first 2, right? Do not count as 1 and 2. So you've got ground here, and you've got your 5 volt here. So wire 3 is actually your channel 1, and wire 2 is your channel, wire 4 is going to be your channel 2. All right, so we are going to take channel 1 and we're going to put it into the RX of the UART6 right here. I don't know if you can see that. And then we're going to put the channel 2, which is the receiving of the receiver, into the TX, the transmission of the flight controller. So that's pretty much it, and I'm going to go ahead and get started on that and see where we're at. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is just go ahead and cut these off right at the ends, and you won't save these, right? So you'll just toss these out. So get rid of these. And make sure you remove them if you're planning on powering up on your workbench, because they can touch and short the board. All right, so we've got this here, and we are going to go ahead now and get the wires ready and tin them up. So let's just strip off a little bit of it. I'd probably say, 1.5 millimeters to 2 millimeters is fine, because you're going to tin it and then you're going to cut back what you don't need. And again, if you have an F3 board, I guess even an F7 board where you can invert your S-bus, that's great. You can connect to the S-bus. But if not, if you have an F4 board like the one I'm using and you cannot invert the signal, then you need to connect to a UART, okay? So let's just twist this up real quick, get these ready to tin, and we'll be good to go. Okay, so we'll get started tinning these up real quick. Take a second. I want to make sure you do a clean job of this and make sure all the strands are twisted together. And then we're just going to tin it real quickly. So, one, which is actually channel 2. And then we're going to take channel 1, make sure it's twisted properly. And tin that up. And then we'll go to our ground and our positive. So this is going to be our 5 volt right here. All right. Then we have our ground. All right, there we go. So as far as that goes, the quad is, or the receiver is ready. Let me go ahead and get this excess solder off. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take this chameleon frame and we are going to, hey Enrique, I'm sure this all looks familiar to you. I decided at the last minute to take everything apart again and do a live build of it because I wanted to get one last shot of this going. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to actually place the receiver underneath, and we're going to make sure that we leave enough room for the customer. Actually, that's Enrique. He's the one who I was just talking to. We're going to make sure we leave enough room so that he can bind it and make sure the pin is available. Yes, we do. Julio, we do full builds with any equipment. I mean, we have our own inventory, but if you have inventory and you want us to use it, of course, we do that as well. So it's whatever you like. I cater to all requests like that. So if I can help you in any way, please just let me know. Okay, so in this case, what we're going to do is, since this quad is running this way, I'm going to try to mount this receiver right here in the center, and therefore make it a little bit easier for him to access the button on the bottom, which is going to be right in the front here. So this is why I removed the bottom connector here. We don't need it, and right now we could set the receiver just like this if we wanted to, and you'd be able to see it from the bottom. All right, the only problem with this is that it leaves such a high gap to put the boards on, but hopefully this should be no issue as far as fitting it goes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get the hot glue ready. All right, brother, you let me know and I can help you, and I'll definitely do it. So we're going to get the hot glue ready, and I'm going to use this because I want to be able to, if I change my mind, I want to be able to take it off easy, but if I don't, it's going to hold really well. So I'm going to keep it there and press pretty firmly, right? And then make sure that the bind button, which is, as you can see right here, I think you can see. Let me see if I can make that better. So as you can see here, with the glare, I guess it's a little hard. Oh, there it is. Okay, so you can see that. That's the bind button right there. So it's in great range for him to be able to bind when he needs to, but at the same time, it's also, you know, kind of tucked away there, so it's protected. or fail-safe, or whatever he needs to do with it. So now we're going to try to see how much space we've just taken up. And in looking at it, looks like it's probably going to be about 8 millimeters or so. I'm going to grab a standoff here and just make sure above 6 where I'm at. So 6 is going to be too low. So we're going to go ahead and go to 8. And to do that, most likely what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take, let's see, we'll take a 22 millimeter screw, an M3, run it through the bottom, take a nylon fastener here, go ahead and tighten it down, and make sure that we've got plenty of room to fit everything. And I know this isn't part of the connection, but I did want to do the full build. I'm just going to go ahead and get this part done for him as well and put somewhat of a video together on it. So let's see. Let me go ahead and fasten this down. And yes, these are the new Cyclone FPV hex sets that RJX Hobby made for us. I'm extremely pleased with them. I appreciate their help a lot. And they actually came out pretty good. All right, so let's do this. Let's tighten it down, and then we get to test and make sure that everything is going to fit properly. So if I take the 6 millimeter standoff and I put it on top, my hope here is that this will clear, and it does. So it looks like we're in good shape actually with the 6 millimeter. And then what we're going to do is we know that we're going to have, let's say, a 5 millimeter gap there, which will be for the other board. I got this glue right in my way. And so then we will do the following, just like this, and that'll give us enough room. Yeah, it looks pretty good. We can actually probably go 4 millimeters on that and even get a little bit more room out of it. So let's do that. So to continue, I'm going to go ahead now and put the 22 millimeter screw in all of them, and go ahead and fasten them. All right, we got one more to go, and then we're going to be ready to get started on this part. Okay, so we know that we can use a 6 millimeter. Yeah, 6 millimeter over here. And it may even be able to go to a 5 millimeter if the total height is only 7. So let's just see how it looks when we put this on and see if we clear. And if maybe we've got too much clearance, we can drop it down a little bit. So let's pull this over, lay it down, and see where we are at. All right, clearance-wise, it's a little high. We can actually reduce it just a little bit. I don't know, let me show you guys. So if you could see here, there. If you look from the top camera, right, you can see where there's a nice little gap there. So I've got about 1 millimeter to go. And because we're gonna try to save space, I'm gonna go ahead and use that millimeter up. So let me go ahead and raise this up real quick and see if a 5 millimeter will do instead. And if it will, then we'll just go that route and call it 7 millimeters instead of 8. All right, just give me 1 second. Let's do that. Hey, what's up, David? All right. So now we're going to go ahead and fold this over and make sure we clear everything again. And if we do, then I think we're just going to stick with this route. And yeah, it's a much better option. So we're going to go that route, which gives everything a much better look and feel. Let me get these out of the way. Now I'll go ahead and fasten the motors down so that we can make sure we stay on track with what we're going to be working with. I'm just going to use one screw to do that. And this way we can at least prevent everything from moving all over the place. Okay, there's one. And there's the other one. Okay, so now that we've got the receiver underneath and we've got our cable ready to go, the next thing is going to be to just make sure everything's going to fit properly with this. So let's go ahead and grab I think I already grabbed them and I think I just put them back even. Let me just check here. So we've got 4mm standoffs, okay? So I'm going to drop a couple here, and I think that's a 3mm, so let's see. These look like 5s, so I need to get 4s. All right, there's that. 1 and 3. All right, so from here we're just going to make sure everything fits properly. I'm sure it will, but let's just check and make sure we have clearance. And it looks like it's going to be a good fit. Everything clears pretty nicely. It's a little tight, but I think it'll be just fine. So now that we know we're set, we can go ahead and begin the process of fastening everything down. I may up it to 5mm. We'll see in just a little bit. Oh yeah, man, I can't wait to see that thing fly. I can't wait for you to get it out there. It's going to be awesome, dude. All right. So where we're at right now is everything's already fastened to the PDB. I'm going to go ahead and just take that picture out so I can see the board and clean this up a little bit. Make sure that everything is in line to work properly. And here it is. Perfect. All right. Let's see if we can just make this all look good. Connection-wise, everything does look pretty solid. I think I'm going to go ahead and just kind of accept it like that. I need to clean up these wires here, which I can do. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and run a ground and power from here to the flight controller. That'll get me what I need. And all I need to do is now just find the wire I want to use for that. And I think I will use these here that I had already used once. So let's prep that up real quick. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and get these wires ready. There's one. Let's solid and in there. And then where is my ground cable? Right here. We'll go ahead and take the ground off of here and do the same thing. I need better tweezers. These ones are pretty much had it. Let me see if I can get something a little bit better. There we go. All right, that looks good. We'll remove all this so I can clean it up. Okay, so now the idea here is to get our board power and ground from here, and we are going to do that by placing the flight controller right on top like so, and making sure we have good, we'll cross them here and make sure that we have a good connection, and it looks like they're going to reach without any issue at all, so that's going to work out pretty good. The next thing will be to just drop the ground for the ESCs and try to clean this up just a little bit. So let me see if I got some alcohol here. All right, now to make it a little bit easier on us, I'm going to go ahead and do the grounds real quick. So let's go ahead and knock that out. Okay, there's one. There's two. Third one, and then we'll get the last one done right now and have this ready to go. All right, so now all four ESCs have their signal grounds done, and that's good to go. So now we are safe to go ahead and put the flight controller on. Everything else looks good here and is ready to be mounted. We will go ahead and put the excuse me, the signal or the cables for the Crossfire in as well. Make sure we get a good fit in there. All right, that's in, so that's good to go. That'll flip over just fine right here. All right, now let's get our, I think I'm gonna just try the 5mm to give it a little bit more space, a little bit more clearance. And if it doesn't work that way, then we'll go to 4mm. let's see what we got left. Yeah, that should actually fit with no problem. I think that'll hold pretty nicely. We'll go ahead and check real quick. Yep, that'll work. All right. Go ahead and, you know me, glue happy. Go ahead and put some glue out here. This is the Gorilla Glue, and just make sure that our connections are safe from grounding or shorting out. And because this quad seems to be taken into the sandy dirt areas, this glue actually helps to keep a lot of the elements out of some critical areas. So either way, it is going to probably come out pretty nice here in just a minute. All right, we go ahead and let that go. And now it'll be time to put the flight controller on. So let's do that. And from there, remember now, what we're doing is we're actually coming over to these pins here, okay, for our power and our transmitter and receiver. So to get started with that, make sure you know exactly which pins are which. Pin 1 is kind of, or the ground is actually snuck out over here. So I'm going to see if I can make it reach maybe between the boards if possible. Kind of keep the wires from being exposed. And I think I can without losing track of which wire is which. Let's go over to here. You know what? I may go ahead and make this a little easier. I think I may just tap the 5 in the ground right here. That'll actually be a little bit easier for me. So let me go ahead and do that real quick. And this is the joy of using a PDB, is that you can tap onto these parts here. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and knock that out real quick. Make sure I've got the right wires, and I do. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and get the ground from the Maytech PDB, and I'm gonna go ahead and get the 5 volt from there as well. And we know that this is going to be the ground wire. It's the first one. So let's go ahead, and I think we're gonna tuck it underneath right here. There's one, that'll come up nicely, and this will be the 5 volt. I'll pull that out in a second. Let me do them one at a time, and let me bend this back in place. So give me 1 second. All right, that'll work. All right, so on the Crossfire, like I said, wire 1, or you know, the first wire coming off there is going to be ground. So I'm going to go ahead and take it here instead of taking it to the flight controller. This happens to be just perfect in position for me to get to it. We'll go ahead and do that. Clean off that tip there, and now let's find number 2 here, which is right here. Yep. All right, so we'll pull that, and that's going to be our 5 volt. Let's go ahead and take this and feed it through the bottom. Here it is. That'll be our 5 volt. And we'll go ahead and place that down too. And then the Crossfire will be ready to go. Then all we'll do is just connect the the UARTs and the channel 1, channel 2. All right, both of those are good, and that's a very nice clean connection. Everything looks pretty solid there. Okay, so we'll hit those a little bit. Let me get a can of air here so I can cool this down faster. Okay, so we're ready to go with the flight controller. good. And now we have a couple of things left to connect. Mainly we've got our signal wires to connect, and we've got our power to connect. I'm not going to connect these just yet. Main thing I'm going to do first is I'm going to go ahead and get the receiver wires out of the way. And I guess I should have just run those underneath real quick. So I'm going to put those here. That'll keep it nice and clean and make sure I know which one's which. So we know that, okay, so this is going to be channel 1. And again, based on that diagram I showed y'all, which is again right here, you can see the purple wire, which is channel 1, is going to go to your receiving UART, which is right here. So we're going to go ahead and connect that, and we will put this just like that so you guys can see it being done there. Okay, that should be easier to see, I guess. There we go. Then we're going to take our channel 2, which is our receiving side, which is going to go to the UART 6 transmitting side. There you go. And now the wires are nicely hidden, and we'll protect those in just a little bit. So this, for the most part, completes it. And now we are just going to go and clean up the rest of this and attach the signal wires. And out here, because I went ahead and put the ESC signal grounds underneath, I don't really need to worry about it, but you've got to be careful with these ground pads here and positive pads here. So let's just make sure this is going to go. I'm going to put a little bit of solder on that right there. Hopefully that'll help. Just a tad. All I want it to do is run off when I touch it there. There it is. That's done. All right. I'm going to do the same here. Okay. Go ahead and just put a drop on here as well. All right. Came out good. Then we'll get our last one here, and this should wrap it up for our signal wires. And then it's just a matter of connecting the camera, and we are good to go. All right, now, good practice would be, right, my recommendation is to make sure you do your continuity test, because those cables, those signal wires are so close to the ground and ground pads that you want to make sure you haven't touched them yet. So I'm going to go ahead and knock that out real quick just before I go ahead and cover those up. So obviously, if you're touching, you'll hear the beep. So we want to touch here to here, and there's nothing. Nope. Nope. And the final one. Nope. All right, so that looks all good. Everything looks good here. So the only thing that's left on this board is going to be, outside of putting the XT60 back on, the only thing left is putting on your positive and ground to the flight controller, hooking up the XT60. And this kind of configuration actually gives you the benefit of both. You can either connect your XT60 to here and have it sideways when you're flying, or you can connect it to here and run it out the back of the Chameleon. So kind of have both options there. You pick whichever one you like. Since they're going to be wired together here, it doesn't matter which way you go. So it's a matter of preference. I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add a small wire to each side and let it move a little bit. And this way it opens up for the USB connection, but still gives that option. All right, so let's see. We are using a Fox ear camera. And now it's going to come down to the VTX. So I believe the VTX is a TBS VTX, but the antenna is broken on it. So we are going to clean this up a little bit. And see how we're going to move forward with this one. Let me get this out of here a little bit and see what we got. There you go. Get this out of the way. Clean this up. Bunch of sand in there, so let me go ahead and clean that up. All right. Now let me see something here. Okay. So I think we have something that'll work for an antenna here. Give them a connection. Let me just find it. This may be all right. Yep, there we go. So that'll solve that problem there. Go ahead and put some glue on that to hold it in place. Well, actually, I'm going to wait just because I need to see how we're going to mount it. All right, so the next thing is just going to be to connect the camera, which we have put. Where the heck did it go? Let me get this out of the way. All right, so here we've got the camera. Move everything else out of the way. Get everything situated. And we'll go ahead now and get the... Ha! Enrique, this thing's covered in sand, man. Shoot. People in Beirut don't have that much sand in their quads. All right, so we're going to go ahead now, and the way this is done, we have our video out, video in, 2 grounds, 12 volt and 5 volt, and we're going to go and make sure that we have a clean connection to all of that. I just need to clean this up a little bit. All right. to remove this wire, the audio, because on one side of it, it is no longer good for the connection. It is a kind of a torn, cut a little bit, but again, it's not an issue. All right, so once this is done, we'll clean this back up and get ready to get our camera connected. And so the way this is going to work is pretty simple. Your camera connection is going to go the following route. Input is from, obviously, the camera. So we're going to take the input. Let me turn this so you guys can see a little bit. All right. Output's going to go to our VTX. There's that. Those came out good. Let me see on the camera, just to make sure I've got this one right. Oh no, that's not it, sorry. It's this one. All right, so everything else there looks fine. Got a bent pin in there, clean that up. All right, and now for the VTX itself. I believe on this one it's 26 volts. Okay, so since it's only running a 4S on this, well obviously even if it was 5, we're going to go ahead and make this connection, and I need to fix this here. I just noticed there's a problem here I need to fix, so let me go ahead and take care of that. Actually should work just like it is. I think we might be okay with that. Let me see. All right, so I've decided to kind of make a little bit of a change up here, and I'm going to feed these in the following way. So I'm going to go ahead . That should give me ample room. And then on camera. All right. That should take care of that. And now we'll get the camera. I need to check on the Foxier. Give me 1 second to see. Be right back on that. I need to check something out here. Okay, good. So we know we've got good input power. I was just wanting to make sure that we had plenty, and we do. So I'm going to actually take that, and I'm going to run the Fox Ears power to the front here. And give me one second. Hey guys, how y'all doing? Did you have fun?
Yes, sir.
Where's Nicole?
She's coming. She's putting her
Oh, okay.
I got you Chipotle. Got you 2 burritos.
You got me Chipotle.
Even though
yeah.
you said you didn't want it.
No, I'll take it.
I
Yeah.
figured you were lying.
Yes, I was lying. Thank you. Thanks, Mama.
You're welcome. You need a coffee or anything?
I would love a coffee.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Mama.
You're welcome.
All right, let's put this here. So really, we're gonna take the focus off running the power and ground all in that congested area, and we're gonna kind of spread it around a little bit. There, that should be it. Okay, so looks like we have, as long as everything will lay out properly, it looks like we have a pretty good little setup there. I'm not gonna close everything up until I know for sure, but let's see. I will now go ahead and get this part done. Perfect. Hey Sam,
Yes, sir.
if you close the door, you don't have to whisper like that.
Yes, sorry.
Thank you. Shut up, Nicole. Oh, that's all I needed to be hazed by my fiance and her friend. All right. Where'd you go? Oh, thanks, Mom. Yes, coffee hits the spot. Appreciate it. Love you.
Love you.
All right. So now that that is done, we're ready to do another continuity test. Make sure nothing is grounded. Make sure nothing is shorted out. So far it looks good. And this is why we do the test. So here, there was a small mistake on my part, and we will fix that very quickly. So make that a practice for you guys to always test these out. There we go. I will not usually plug in a LiPo until I've done that. And in this case, it's because I obviously made a mistake here that I need to fix. And that will be in regards to the ground. So let me go ahead and put this back where it should have gone. All right. Now, this should be good to go. So we will see now how we want to proceed. have a LiPo here. We need an XT60. All right, send this wire up real quick. We should be good to go here in just a second. Here we can just do that like that, and there we go. Perfect. There's a good solid connection. We'll clean that up, and that should give us our needed power. So let me go ahead and clean that. All right. Now, that should give us everything we need. We've got our power, we've got our BTX, we've got everything set. So let's do another continuity test, make sure everything lines up properly. We should be good to go. All right. Uh-oh, battery's dying. Excellent. Okay, now that this is connected and everything's done, everything's wired up, the only thing is the VTX isn't attached yet. I'll attach it in a little bit. The main thing is to make sure that everything looks good here, and it does. The moment of truth about to happen, if we have a blow up here or not. I don't believe there was a short on the board when we started working on it. There's a little bit of damage, but nothing that would cause it to be a problem. So let's see if we have a safe power up, or if the thing all goes to crap on me. Let's see. That's great news. So there we go. Everything is good to go on that end. Everything looks pretty solid. Now it's a matter of just closing it up, cleaning it up, and getting it good to go. So I'm going to tighten these down. I'm going to get it on the beta flight. I'm going to put the VTX on. But we are pretty much clean and ready to fly with this thing. Enrique, I guess I'm going to see you shortly. I know you watched the video, so that does it. For everybody else, like I said, we're going to be putting more videos together. The part of this video that I wanted to show you was how to connect the Crossfire micro TX, or micro receiver, I mean, and that was done. And now I'm just going to clean the rest of it up for Enrique. Thanks, guys. If you have any questions, you let me know. I'll be more than happy to help you guys out if I can. And I'll see you guys soon. Keep track of the website. I'm still doing some updates to it, but I appreciate y'all very much. And thank y'all for all your support. We'll talk to you later. Bye.